Hey, just covering off the replenishment settings within MYOB Advanced to drive back-to-back ordering. So within the inventory module under our core stock items, what we can look at is we can look at an individual inventory item, and within the individual inventory item, there's a couple of key things we want to take into account. We want to take into account the units of measure in case we need to deal with lot sizes, minimum lot sizes for various items. In our suppliers, we want to make sure that there's a default supplier and that we've catered for a lot size. Generally, this would be in line with, say, on that pallet entry, I think it was 64. So you could change it to that number, which aligns it to the multiple on here when you potentially need to buy it, or how it needs to be bought in correct quantities. Under the replenishment, we've got a replenishment source of purchase, and we've got a max and a reorder point here. There's some other options available to us around our source, and also using different methods and driving in demand forecast based on our sales, which works on moving average, various frequencies, and then the periods pertaining to those frequencies to actually calculate on. If we also go and look at another inventory item, we've got the ability to enter in replenishment, and in this situation here, our replenishment's been defined in the Perth in the Perth warehouse in this situation, and what we've got the ability to hold is that we're going to create transfer orders on that warehouse. Again, we've got a max quantity in each location with a reorder point at each location, and we can drive replenishment using some automated processes. So within our inventory, if we prepare a replenishment, the first thing we can do is we can say replenish for Perth, which is basically going to show us only suggested items from where there's a quantity to process. The quantity to process is an editable field. This is suggesting how many we need to process, and I can flag on that, or I can override this value to manually override this worksheet, and I can hit process all. What this will create is what we call a sales order transfer. The sales order transfer basically allows us to do a transfer document and create that, and it's transferred it from Melbourne, a transfer document from Melbourne to Perth. Here's our sales order transfer document, which is basically now dictating destination warehouse from the Melbourne warehouse and 200 of them. So now if we go into the second part, which is replenishing for the actual purchase of the inventory, if we click prepare replenishment here, in our prepare replenishment, we'll select this time our Melbourne warehouse, and Melbourne warehouse will show us all the relevant items to replenish. What we'll notice here is that we've got maximum quantity 500, but it's suggesting 700 because of the 200 sales order transfer document that's created the demand. And I can see that there's a default supplier over here. I can grab these items and I can process those, or process all, which will then trigger off the next phase, which is creating the actual purchase order. So I've moved to the create purchase order screen at this point. I can see here multiple items to purchase. I can choose those items to actually create a purchase order on. There's my 700 and my 200. Note I can expand out these fields so they're clear, and I can process the creation of the purchase orders. So this is purchasing directly into the Melbourne warehouse for this individual supplier. This could be any number of suppliers. Where there's a single supplier, it'll take you directly to the PO. And where there is not where there's multiple supplier purchase orders being created, it will take you to the purchase order list screen. So finally, to tie off in my inventory, if I go back to prepare my replenishment on Melbourne at this point, what we should see is the omission of the items that I've just created replenishments for, because they're now no longer in quantity to process, because I'm going to have quantity on supply, which is influencing my overall availability calculations. I hope that provides some insight into the replenishment process.